Dun dun dun, more rust in the chassis rail. Righto, so I just took all the funky green panels off the front here, and luckily I did, because dun dun dun, more rust in the chassis rail. And you can see in the one over the other side, it's even worse down there. So we're going to have to patch these guys up as well, and they were hiding underneath the green guys. I think that we just put them in temporarily, so kind of knew that was there. But yeah, we'll have to get that all repaired before we can continue. So more choppy coming up. I've welded that new piece in already, and these little pieces here are chopped out for on the other side over there, and on the other side of this part here, you can see in there. So yeah, we'll get those ones. Just use this little magnet here. You can basically pick the piece up like that, pop it into position, and then tack it in and weld it away. So those ones are ready. I've just put a bit of converter in there, and we've got to put a bit of primer in there, seal it all up, and then we can weld our little windows back in again and call it good. We'll probably start trimming this section here off right along, and we have to put a little piece in there because that's obviously pretty rotten along that part, so that might be the next job. I think it'll be easier to do it without this piece in the way. So we're going to put this piece here in the middle in. So I've just got it dangling there for now, so we've got to knock it into posi. Let's just get that done. We'll get this little guy here all fixed up because he's pretty beaten up and looking sorry. Yeah, we'll get him welded back into position. Yeah, we'll just have to give this area here a bit of a clean up as well while I brush it back a bit. Alright, let's go and fit this piece and just see what she looks like. There we go, like I bought one. We can get that tacked back into position, and then we just means our floor will sit a lot nicer once it's all level. So yeah, there you go. Okay guys, so we've got this copper primed on the inside of it, and obviously I'm going to weld it, got it all nice, sandblasted the outside of it just to keep it clean. And I've just been cleaning up the gearbox around this area too, just to try and get it a little bit nicer. But we will be putting some Fahrenheit on this later on, and then we'll just have to do some strategic painting, pull the gearbox out. Obviously that'll have to be cleaned up. Hopefully that is okay, we don't have to do much to it. We'll see how we go. And then of course I've just taken note, all the brake, all these brake lines here are cactus, so well, it's funny, it's still got brake fluid in that one, pretty crazy. Yeah, but we'll have to reroute some new lines on this as well, obviously. They'll be all perished, so we'll get that done as well. But in the meantime, let's get this little guy here put in his spot where he needs to go, and we'll put a couple of strategic tacks on that and call it good. Okay, so that one is done. We're just waiting for the transmission hump section to come so we can get that welded back in. There's just, you know, everywhere you look there's more work, so take your pick, whatever you want to do. Righto, so we're going to tackle this part here next. All this needs to be removed. Yeah, and we'll just use some sheet metal, so a little bit of tape across the top, cut her out. Okay, so here's this little piece here. Now what I've done is I've just copied the other side over there. You can see that I've actually put those two little lumps in, these little reinforcement little bumps, and I just used a ball peen hammer and gave it a little bit of a tap tap tappy, and that's going to basically live like so. You can see on the corner here, I've got to roll this edge over. It's got to have a flap on this side here, so you can see what I've done there. I've just put some relief cuts in it, and that's the radius, the black marker, and I'm just going to bend them over. The idea is you just, you know, you bend all those over and then weld them up, obviously, and then grind them flat. But because it's got two curves to it, it's hard to get that thing to work. So we'll just grab a pair of pliers and we'll bend these little suckers over, and you can see what I'm talking about. So you get the idea there, just gives it a nice, and I'll just weld all that up, both sides, or one side, whatever, and that's going to be that little part. We'll go and put it back over there. And it's going to leave just like so. And then of course your outer panel is going to spot weld onto this part here, where my thumb is. That's going to work. We've just got to, these little cancer spots here, we'll just plug those with some copper and fill those up with weld, grind them back, and we can get this piece, yeah, welded in position. But you know, instead of buying that piece, I thought, well, that's a makeable part. I'll just have to get these little guys a little bit better. But you can see that is going to work just nicely. Here's this part here, I've welded up the side of that from the pie cut. That's pretty much ready to get tacked and welded into position right here like that. And then we can, after we've got that guy in, then we can actually put the long green piece along here. And once that's in, then we can put the outrigger in. You know, it's just a snowball effect, trying to get it all to fit. So a couple of plug little holes in this guy. We'll have to bend this out a little bit as well. But yeah, we can get that piece in. What I use is my finger, and some people say, oh, how come you haven't got gloves on? But the idea is, you got to, I mean, look, you do burn yourself every now and again, but when you've got a discrepancy here, and you need your finger, you can't do it with a glove on it, you just can't feel it. But you can, if I run my hand over this, I can feel that that's higher than that. Now, if I go and weld that as it is, and then once I flap it back later, you're going to see a line. It's not going to be perfectly flush. So the idea is using your finger is make sure both of those are absolutely dead smooth. So you can see that, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. But you can definitely see over here is not right. So you've got to get them right before you tack them. These spots I did, they were perfect, and that's why I was using my finger. Once it starts getting hotter, then you've got to be a bit careful not to burn your finger, but you know, that's the reason I'm using a bare hand instead of having gloves on both hands anyway. So all right, I've got to go and get myself a little panel hammer and a dolly just to knock these square so I can just keep tacking them up. Righto, so obviously now we'll flap most of this back. I've still got to just get in here, but I'm going to have to jump on the other side to do that. And we've just got another little flat piece here to put in for that part. And then we call this repair good and move on, and we can start getting the rest of it in. All right, let's flap it back. Okay, so there we have it. That's all nicely done. I've just put a bit of copper spray on it. Obviously we're going to be welding to it, so we'll do some other bits and pieces later. This section here, I'm just going to have to wait till we've put the long green panel on and work out what needs to be patched in. But at least this is done now. We can start concentrating on the rest of it.